Hey guys, it's almost agreement time. Today's show is going to be, we're pre-recording this one because we got some vacations next week and I don't want you guys to miss our beautiful, beautiful voices. So if there's something super topical that we are going to talk about, it's because it hasn't happened yet. So we don't know the future that well. But we are almost in agreement at gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. You can also find us on our website at almostinagreement.com. You can go there and get all the episodes, or you can go to your favorite podcast provider. And while you're at any of those places, send us a like, a share, tell your friends about us, that kind of stuff. We're going to keep rolling through. We got city elections coming up. I got a couple of interviews lined up, which will be past tense when you guys are hearing this, but we don't get to talk about it because I haven't done them yet. And then as soon as I get back from vacation, I'm going to hammer through the last of the group of city candidates that I haven't talked to yet. Keep pushing on the mayor's office. I'm going to try to get Chris Davis back in here one more time to talk about some of the procedural stuff as far as the primaries coming up as well as the general in November. So that's what we got going on, among other things. Apparently at some point I might get Gloria Johnson in here. I got to meet her in the flesh, and she has no idea who AC is, but that's a whole separate story. So anyway, we're almost in agreement. Here we go. So it's June 13th right now. Just put your mindset in June 13 mode.
Cool. So we were talking about alcohol.
Yeah. I just don't like I prefer the beer drunk. Like, I prefer the beer buzz to, like, wine's okay. Like, I can get there with wine, but, like, you know, I've been trying to do, like, I've been doing rums and I got some bourbons in here and stuff like that just to try to, because I was a very consistent beer drinker for most of my 20s, 30s, whatever. And I was like, try to get a little more sophisticated, be fancy. Everybody talks about, like, sipping whiskeys. Max is a big sipping whiskey kind of guy where you're paying top dollar for it, where, you know, if in my history, if I was doing whatever, it'd be like a gin and Coke, not a high dollar anything. And so we were joking about, I had a couple weeks ago, I had Dan Davis in here, and I asked him if I could have anything for him to drink here, and he asked for that Bullet Rye, and I sat and I had some with him, and it's like, it's okay. But, like, never got a good buzz going out of it, but was hungover as shit the next day. Mm. And, like, that's kind of becoming my standard. Like, I with beer, I can get there, and I can get that fun. I'm well socially lubricated. Yeah. And having a good time, but, like, just, you know, this doesn't seem to do it with me when I'm doing any liquor combos. And
whiskey is an indica, and beer is a sativa.
I mean, if I knew what that meant, I'd agree with you. I don't understand the difference in those either. But I do hear about it. Like, one's more of an upper, kind of get you a little bit more giggly and fun, where another one's a much more relaxing, kind of chill you out.
It puts you in the couch.
In the couch.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I had
sativa. Hey, I'm happy.
The wine absolutely does it for me. I don't know what it is, but the wine, as I've gotten older, there we go. That's all better. Yeah, the wine does it for me, man. It just nails it. Because I have to have, like, well, just not a lot, but for me, I've got to have probably 8 or 10 beers. And by the time I've had 8 or 10, man, like, I feel like I'm walking around with a fucking bathtub in my.
That's true. I agree with you there.
In my abdomen.
There's some wines that I get. It's a warmer buzz when it gets there for me, where it's like it's like a blanket straight out of the dryer, kind of like just everything's warm and cozy.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, I don't know. I'm certain I'm not unique in my outlook in this. It's just like I'm trying to explore other things just because, I don't know, I'm getting older and I ought to explore some things that I may not have explored before. And it's just like, these are my experiences.
Maybe bourbon's better for you. Have you tried good bourbon?
I don't know. Probably not.
All right.
I mean,
I'll bring some over. We actually have a fairly decent liquor cabinet.
Okay. Yeah, the bookshelf's slowly getting there. It's got a few things on it. It's got a box of wine right now.
So it's pretty good is what you're saying.
It's getting there. Box of wine, bottle of Bullet. There's some gin in there. There's another bottle of wine that may or may not be shit. That was one of my gift wines from the business we get for Christmas, and it just sits around. It's a screw top. Not that necessarily means anything.
Doesn't mean anything.
I've got a shit ton of wines, and I don't drink wine. I think I said this before. I joined the NRA Wine of the Month Club. Mm-hmm. And so they send you wines every month, and I don't drink wine, so it's just collecting. But I was like, I always have alcohol and beer, or, alcohol and beer, but never wine. So I was like, I need to have wine here for.
Okay, I see. Okay, that was weird. So you always have beer and liquor in the house when you have guests over.
Liquor, that's great. Yeah, liquor, not wine.
Right.
He's the one that says
Not alcohol, right? You said alcohol, which we're like, but yeah, beer's an alcohol has alcohol.
I don't know if you remember this or not, Max, but a couple years ago we had Super Bowl party at your place, and we had some sort of prop bet. I can't remember what it was, and you gave me like the payout was like cash from people or something, and instead of giving cash, you gave a bottle of wine. I still have that. I haven't even opened it. I don't even know if it's any good, but it's sitting up there, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna save this for a special occasion. But they're,
hopefully it's the red wine.
It's a red, yeah, yeah. We talked about it then. It's sitting on top of my liquor cabinet right now, and I have. It may be terrible. It may be the best thing in the world. I've never opened it.
That's hilarious.
I need to look it up. Actually, I don't know the fucking name of it. It's got like a wax top on it. It's weird. It's like no other bottle I've ever seen before. Anyway,
I don't remember what it is.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, remember?
Yeah, it's been a couple of years ago.
At the Super Bowl party where we were probably all pretty hammered.
We were pretty drunk.
Good times.
You made that really good buffalo dip again.
Yeah, that buffalo chicken dip that I make all the time. I'm famous for it.
It's pretty good. I like it.
Is that when Possum died?
Is that what?
When you shot the possum?
Possum died?
That was
it might have.
Did we do one this year? We did one this year, right?
I had to work it this year, so I didn't go this year.
Did we do one this year? I don't think we did one this year. So it was the last one we did, which was 2019.
Yeah, where I had to shoot that possum that had. Like,
yeah, I think so. Because I remember you.
Yeah,
you walked out with a gun. And I was like, all right, it's getting real around here now.
Yeah, I remember your wife was very concerned. It's like, we got a bunch of people drunk. There's a bunch of pot. Everybody's having a good time. We're having a rig party, and we're shooting shit in the backyard.
East Tennessee.
It's county. It's no problem.
Speaking of shooting shit, what happened to that bear?
Oh yeah, tell the backstory. Don't just.
Oh yeah, sorry.
So we saw. I guess let's go back to Friday in our subdivision. Somebody posted their ring cam that there's a bear on their patio, and it said on my street. And I was like, damn, what house was that? I was like, there's not too many houses with like a wood deck front porch. And then, I think the next day we were leaving the subdivision, and I was like, hey, that's the house right there. It's like 3 houses down from our house. And then Sunday night, we were coming home from someplace, and someone posted, saw the bear again. It's behind the guy it's behind the house that has the big farm, or the big garden. And I'm like, well, that's our neighbor's house that has a big garden behind his house. And then talked to the neighbors, and the kids were like, did you guys see the bear in your backyard? And we're like, no. And they were like, yeah, it was down between your chicken coop and the building. It came out and it was walking around your backyard. I was like, well, shit. So I don't know what happened to it, but we back up to the woods, and like we're at the edge of the subdivision, so behind us is all woods. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's back there still hanging out or what, but I haven't seen nothing. Didn't attack the chicken, so who knows?
Well, because as you were saying that, I had a thought, and I guess I could do it this way so you could actually see it. But
it's a brilliant idea, actually.
Because like what I'm thinking, like the question is, this gets into the predatory, dangerous kind of situation where either wildlife is going to come out and tranquilize it and take it way up in the mountains and re-release it, or I guess my question is, which I don't know if you know the answer to or not, which is why getting a TWA person on the show just for a lot of questions that I'm sure we have would be fun. Like what is the legality of that if you're out there? Just, I mean, in a decently reasonable thing, you're sitting out on the back deck and it starts ruffling around your chicken coop. Are you allowed to shoot it in a neighborhood in Knox County?
I think the answer's got to be yes. I mean, I don't see any world where that's a no.
I'm
yeah, sure.
When I called, I didn't talk to TWRA, but when I called the county about these, dogs that attacked my chickens in the neighborhood, people that just, their dogs get out or don't keep their dogs pinned and they get out. And we've had, 2 different incidents where dogs have attacked my chickens. I was like, this is bullshit. If you can't control your dog, that's not my problem. So I called the county, and the county said, what's the rule? An animal's attacking my chickens, and she says, it's your property. She's like, if they're attacking your property, then you're allowed to kill it. or she said, you're allowed to shoot it, but please use good muzzle awareness. And after you shoot it, just call us. Don't try to take the animal off the property.
Oh.
So I would have.
So
I didn't ask
be a decent gun owner. Check.
Yeah, I didn't ask her about a bear, but I would think that if I could shoot a neighbor's dog that's attacking my chickens, surely I'd be able to shoot a bear that was attacking my chickens.
Yeah, but I guess what I was thinking is when you're saying where you set up, that's way on the other end of your, way down at the bottom of the hill.
I don't think I could shoot it down there, and I'm like, well, bear's 300 yards from your chicken coop.
Right. I didn't want it to attack my chickens. Well, that one out in Arizona wasn't going to attack your chickens either. You're allowed to shoot it.
Exactly.
Or it was, like if you want to completely fabricate it, you can always say that it was in your yard and it carried out a chicken.
Or, the kids are out and around it. I
have to shoot the bear and then kill one of my chickens.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, if you want the bear meat, I mean, and here's the other thing, too. I mean, you need to practice, everybody needs to practice safe firearm ownership. But, I mean, nobody would know if you shot the crossbow. Nobody would hear it. So, I mean, you could field dress it. You could do everything. You just got to figure out, what do you do with the pelt and, can you take it to a processor? Are they obligated to?
I think so. Again, that'd be a good question for TWR agent if you get one in here.
Yeah, we need to do that.
All right, that's homework for you.
Okay, I'll do it.
I'll expect that person as soon as I get Gloria in here.
Burn.
She was I don't know. It's weird. Like, it was just a weird situation for me. Like, I mean, I was literally going there with intent to glad hand and give out business cards.
Yeah.
And so. Which there's two parts of it that's weird. I'll go into the first part being that's just I have zero, I'm curious what, is Roberto's official campaign kickoff party or whatever.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get Roberto on the show anyway. For me, I'm not voting for these people. I mean, you could, but
I did actually.
But I am not a resident of the city. So I can't vote in this election. I don't own property in the city, that kind of stuff. Right. And so it's curiosity. It's content for the show's sake that I'm going to this kind of thing. But it's this is a weird spot to be because this is as much as it's a nonpartisan race, this is a West Knoxville Democratic Party, whatever I was, whatever, and it's as much as Matt Shears tries to tell me all the time that, we as a party kind of respect the nonpartisanness of this race. It's every one of these kickoff events, Gloria Johnson's there, Sam McKenzie's there. This one, Lauren Ryder was there. She's from District 4. Matt Shears is there. I talked to him about it and I met him there, shook his hand. He introduced me to some people. He'd help me out and I really appreciate him for it. But it's in the same breath, you're telling me that the party doesn't do anything because it's a nonpartisan race. You're inviting me to an event where it's all Democrats, including actual brass from the party.
I think some of it.
Event.
I mean, I think some of it too, though, is I think Max and I are fairly aligned in a lot of political things. Honestly, at the end of the day, we may disagree about the former guy, but I think some of it is you just get used to hanging out with people that think like you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, can you get? Is it possible to get? And I'm not saying that all of the people that were there are anti-gun, but I mean, if you get a bunch of people together that are completely anti-gun, period, it would be rather difficult to get somebody in there that's an NRA member or that is a hunter every year or a conservation person, and you get them. What do they have a conversation about? Not that we talk about guns all day, every day, but I mean,
right? It's a defining piece of your identity, and if it comes up, you're gonna state your piece on it. And if you're a room again, well, it goes back to what we talked about 2 weeks ago, last week. In the partisanship is the problem, but it's these city races are designed to be nonpartisan, but they're just as partisan as everything else. The only difference is when you go into the voting booth and you've done zero research, you don't get to lean on I just always vote D. That's the only difference truly in this functionally. And realistically, we have a third party at play in these city races. The city council movement, which is this super progressive set, and they're functioning almost identical to the parties. They have a group of candidates and they're volunteers and activists that works all three of them. And so they're going from district to district that includes their candidates to, get people to come out and vote, speak about the issues on behalf of not just the candidate in that district, but the other ones that they're trying to get in, especially with the weird formatting of the city. And the more I think about that, I don't like the way the city races. I think it's weird. I think it's.
You mean the non-partyism?
No, that's you primary in your district and you general the entire city. So,
well, going back to our conversation about getting rid of the D and the R, and I said, how much would it change elections if you can still have your political party? It's exactly the same as it's always been. But anything printed, yard signs, and all that stuff, and on the ballot, there's no D or R, independent, anything. How much would that even just change the election?
I mean, I think I think like we talked about before, I think there is it takes away the ability for the really lazy voter just to go in and vote R or D.
Yeah.
Because you at least have to say. You at least have to attach some issues to a candidate to vote for them. And so if you're not bothering, if you're not bothering paying any attention, doing any research anyway, I don't know if literally the only way you do vote now is by the R&D because you don't put any effort in. It's like, well, I've always been a Democrat, so I always vote the Ds. What do you do in a non-party where you don't get that because you don't look? You don't look. You don't do the research in the first place.
I agree with what you're saying, but I would argue that the people that are voting in the non-general federal elections, those folks are probably looking this stuff up anyway.
That's true, and the city elections too.
Right,
and it shows clear as day in the turnout.
Yeah,
I mean, when Dan Davis is in here, go ahead.
In the presidential election, when there's a presidential election. 80% of the people that go to there to vote is voting for the president because that's what they see, the president.
Right.
And then they just go down and click all the R's or all the D's for everybody else.
Right. It's a down ballot voting is what the term is.
Mm-hmm.
And interestingly enough, though, in some of the data that came out from this last presidential, it was not as strong because that was one of the things Matt was talking about one of the times pre-election that we talked to him. Is that, my District 18 race with the Manus Couch race, the Democrats really thought they had a chance at that race, especially they figured they were going to get some down-ballot help and this, that, and the other, and the actual ballot performance was terrible. Manus ran away with District 18. I don't know. Again, it goes back to that whole landslide. What's that actually mean kind of crap, but it underperformed because the analytics said that down ballot should help them on certain races, and this District 18 being one of them. But I think that throws in the anomaly that is Trump. I think you have a lot of quote Republicans that are real Republicans that really didn't like Trump, and they went in and voted Biden or other because they couldn't bring themselves to vote for Trump again, but then went down ballot R, which I think that was anomalous this time around just because of the unique, special weirdness that was Trump.
I don't think he's going to run again, but there's too much persuasion being a kingmaker, and he can get all the. I don't know why we're going down this road. Sorry, we don't have to do this.
Okay.
I mean, it's nonsense. I mean, like at the end of the day, I don't think it actually helps anything. We're beating a dead horse. I mean, really, we need to get a TWRA guy here. I think it's I'm just trying to switch gears a little bit.
Right. I know. I mean, it goes back to what we talked about before. I think the end of the day there is system-wide changes, and whether Trump runs again or not doesn't really doesn't help or hurt the conversation about there are problems with this system and voter apathy and just the for lack of a better word, the willy-nilly nature of just the political bullshit. We talked about it on the first show about the way our city and county mayors are both playing this political game with the cops in school conversation. And the only way they get away with playing that game is that we as the constituency don't actually know what they're talking about.
Right, but I want to take a step back for just a second. You said political apathy. I would argue that the first time maybe since we've been alive, I would argue that there's less political apathy for the 2020 election than there has been the entire time we've been alive.
I mean, I could agree with you on that.
At least at a federal level, because I mean, there were more people voted
right.
for this in this election than has ever voted.
And I guess that's one of those maybe poor use of the term apathy from my end is that it seems to me that it's one of those that you're correct that I guess when I say apathy, I mean like don't really care about any of it as far as taking the time and energy to look into anything, taking any just minimal steps.
You mean down ballot
to research
or at
anything that you're talking about, anything that you're voting for.
I disagree for the top. I think.
I mean, you're hard pressed in the news cycle of today to not have an informed opinion on the presidential race, just because it is you can't turn on sports radio and not catch a segment.
The interesting thing I think will be if Trump doesn't run in 24, which I don't think that he will. If Trump doesn't run, do we have the same amount of voter turnout as we did in 2020? Because if we don't, then it's got to be the elephant in the room was just him.
Right.
Which, I mean, we assume that's the case anyway, but really the data later will tell us if there's 10% less voters.
Right. Or or that there was some fraudulent activity in this election. I'm not saying there was. I'm just saying.
I mean,
it'll reopen. It'll reopen the conversation. It's like, well, why did this many turnout? Where I agree with you 100% that the most likely the turnout was so great because of Trump and the fervor that was created around him, both for and against. I think that's truly why the turnout was there. But for those that are already down the path of this was a stolen, fraudulent election thing, the same day to turn out when he doesn't run again.
It is so dangerous to even bring that up in a conversation. Not you. I'm just saying that like at the end of the day, when he was president, man, listen, like I'm a U.S. citizen. He's my president. I mean, I like the guy 100% of the time, but he was my president. And I think it's dangerous when we start having these conversations about stolen elections when there's quite literally no data for it. And it's like...
well, they're still talking about it. There's still there's still people. They're still talking about.
Because we're seeing the after effects of it, because a number of states are changing their voting laws as a reaction, or at least for the narrative's sake, as a reaction to. I mean, some of them to me, I don't think the Georgia one's that big a fucking deal. As far as I followed it,
I don't think any of it is really. I think it's
easier,
rhetoric. I think all of it's rhetoric.
But it's easier. I mean, from even the new changes in the Georgia law, it's still less of a hassle to vote in Georgia than it is in Tennessee. They are more lax than we are in this new version of it. And so it's like, what is and again, I think it's the political stabs. This is an opportunity to call them this. And
conversely, the same thing. Yeah. And that's the problem because as a voter who just wants to cut through the shit of is it stolen or are you racist, you're not able to get to the heart of any of the issues, which again is part of the that's why the system is built that way.
Right, and then that's why I bring up the cops in school thing, because we have a very specific local example of the same thing at play, and this conversation about the police and the actual police in the school system and stuff like this, and it's the city mayor and the county mayor playing this rhetoric game because we don't know any better. Because we as a county, as city and county residents, don't know that there is a separate, completely autonomous police force that already is in the school systems. It's not even part of the conversation. They're not going anywhere. It's literally 15 KPD officers that's in question. And Mayor Jacobs is like, Mayor Kincannon's trying to take all the police out of the school. And Kincannon's like, well, I'm taking the cops out of school because my more progressive base wants me to. Plus, it helps me with my budget and all this other stuff. That's not what she says out loud. But these are the political games at play, instead of it being, we need to have because really what happened was the school board said, we need to have a conversation about our agreement with the city and the county police forces on how they interact with our school system and whether or not we have them full-time in certain schools and not, blah, 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 blah. That's what the conversation started as, and immediately both mayors go down the rabbit hole.
So I liken this conversation to if I sit down and I say, we need to do a better job of making sure that we are adequately fulfilling our budget for the military, but not wasting money unnecessarily. As soon as you bring that up in a phrase, or
you hate the troops.
You hate the troops. You don't support the troops. You don't want to give them helmets, and that's not at all what I'm trying to say. I just feel like the same situation is happening with this police force thing. Do I?
Right. You're saying, I think that we should have helmets. They shouldn't just cost $3,000 per helmet.
Yeah, 100%. But the problem is you can't ever bring that up, because if you do, then your political opponent or opponents from the other party will say, well, this is a time for us to throw some rhetoric out here and label this person as anti-military or anti-police. And it's like, well, there may be some people that are anti-military and anti-police. I'm not one of either one of those groups. And I also think it's a good idea to have a conversation about what roles police forces have in our school systems.
And and it's especially bad in the social sphere, in the social media sphere of the same conversation.
Sure.
Because I've hopped in on a number of these, especially through the Compasses group, but outside as well, as far as just this specific one on the unemployment kind of crisis. And Mayor Jacobs put up a post about the unemployment and the lack of employees willing to work and blah 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 and this that and the other. And I literally, I think literally the question I asked in it, I was like, I really want to understand this better. And since I was the only person in the thread that was not Jacobs is an idiot, I started getting attacked on it. And literally, it's like, well, here's some data for you. Here's, if you don't believe that, if you don't believe me, here's the data. It's like, I never said I didn't believe anybody. I'm literally saying I want to understand this issue because Mayor Jacobs is saying, and the county, economic board or whatever, saying that there's 9,000 openings, and the unemployment thing says there's 3,000 people on unemployment, and it's like, even if it's like people lazy and taking advantage of the extra unemployment, we're still 6,000 people short of jobs on the jobs available. This is what I want to understand better. Mm-hmm. But it comes into this it just turned in it quickly turned into me on the defensive about, no, I'm not picking a side here. I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah. But that shouldn't shock us, though, because at the end of the day, our news cycles, doesn't matter what shows you watch, they're priming us to respond that way. That way, when the people that are in power are having these sorts of conversations, it seems natural.
Right.
It isn't natural that four people, like when we have this podcast, sit down and have a conversation about stuff. That doesn't seem natural because we are primed to just immediately go on the defensive, do cancel culture bullshit, virtue signaling 24/7, and it shouldn't shock us that that's sort of the response, because the goal is never truth. The goal is political power, and the thing that sucks about it is the collateral damage is always kids at schools or at the end of the day, not having a conversation about military budgets is actually anti-military. If you're not actually wanting to have that conversation, maybe we should be spending more money in certain areas, but we can't ever have those conversations because the conversation is only, let's give them more money. And it's like, well, that's not true.
Right. And that's the same thing. I mean, that's one of the same things I have issues with when I'm trying to understand the school board conversation and their budget. And it's like the only solution is more money. And it's like, you might be right, but convince me at least.
Yeah, sure.
And it's like, well, we pay less than other states do. Okay. Does that mean other states are doing better? No, actually Massachusetts spends 15 times more than we do. And what is it? Somebody was telling me about it. It's like Massachusetts and Idaho on the metrics of success of the school system are about the same. And Massachusetts is top 5 in spending in the country. Idaho's bottom 5. So money is not the solution.
Yeah.
Necessarily. Because biggest spender's doing okay, least spender's doing okay. What's the difference?
There's some social elements involved, probably.
Oh, sure. There's absolutely.
So that lawyer friend of ours that we know is from Idaho. He was born there, went to high school there, was a wrestler there, played football there, and he talks a lot about the poverty that's there where he's from. And I'm like, okay, I get it, but there are other sections of that state that are implying that things are not terrible,
right?
But then you look at hunting videos and you see, wide open spaces for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles. It's a fucking large state, too.
Yes, it is. And it's Oregon's trying, a bunch of Oregon's trying to get annexed by Idaho.
That's what I'm not even going to give that any fucking space. But yeah, money's not the issue, but we can't ever have the conversations about the money. So it's just status quo because people, that's what we're primed to do is just say, oh, this person's trying to, be anti-police or anti-education or anti-military. And it's like, that's not the conversation I said, man. If you want to come back to me and have this dialogue, that's what I'm trying to do. But
yeah, because literally on the school board stuff, I requested access or I was invited to join this Knox County Education Facebook group. And I was like, sure, sounds, that's stuff that I'm interested in. And they have a little pre-questionnaire thing. And one of the questions was, are you pro voucher? And I answered, I'm pro looking at solutions.
I'm pro talking about it.
Right. I'm pro something. Assuming that, and that it is a very, and in their, I guess they're what we would call an activist, a school activist group. And in their kind of bylaws or whatever you want to call it, they are aggressively anti-voucher. And it's so you're telling me that there's no conversation that we can have that makes vouchers make sense. And it's like, well, we're not going to have the conversation. We're not going to talk about vouchers as a viable option. You could talk about it all you want, but you actually can't talk about it in our group. We'll kick you out. But we can. On a side note, if we were sitting together at a restaurant and you could talk about it all you want, but you're not going to change the mind of the way this group works. And it's like, it's pretty close-minded for if the goal here is to do better.
That's not the goal.
Apparently not.
I mean, really, it's not the goal.
Right.
I mean, the goal is anti the other group, the continued rabbit hole binary system bullshit. I mean, like that's
right, and that's
works.
right, and it seems to be the further I get into the further different pieces and parts that I play, that it's just there's no like. I remember like we talked about it probably episode 10 or earlier about people probably do, and even on the local level, get into politics thinking they can make a change, wanting to make changes, and then whatever it is about the machine is just ground down to the ping pong game of just push it this way, push it that way, push it that way, and it's just going to go back and forth and stay in some sort of center-ish mess that you can go in with great ideas and great intent, and whatever it is, the machine's going to grind that down to you might get a tiny 1 yard run up the middle, but you're not going to get the first down.
So I follow Tim Burchett quite a bit. We've had conversations about Burchett when he was mayor here, and I still follow him when he's as a House of Representatives member. And just over the years, over the last 3 to 5 years or so, his dialogue, his posts on Twitter have become more of the binary, anti-read between the lines sort of dialogue that wasn't ever really him when he was here locally.
Yeah.
And I've seen that change just in the tone of stuff that he posts, and I wonder if does he get is he getting pushback, or is he getting feedback rather from his party about some of these? It brings attention to you if you can figure out a way to vilify your opponent,
right.
Even if it's not necessarily the intention of the opponent was not necessarily to be the villain. I just find that interesting. It's like, he wasn't ever really like that before. Maybe he didn't have to be, and maybe he feels like he has to be now for some reason, or that they have some sort of PowerPoint presentation the first 3 weeks that they're, that says, hey, this is the way that you can control the narrative.
Here's where we'll put your body if you don't play the game right.
Yeah. We'll find somebody to replace you.
Yeah.
But yeah, the truth is never a goal. It's we're naive to think that that's the case. So,
but I'm the idiot for being the libertarian.
I agree with that.
Because the base. The base premise here is it's not that I don't believe in a collective. It's not that I don't believe that there is potential for a collective good. It's just the administration of any version of collective isn't about the collective anymore. It's about the power games. So to entrust more to the collective,
I understand,
seems antithetical to anything.
I understand, but you're talking about a philosophical concept right there, just like what you just said was a philosophical concept. And I'm taking libertarianism the entire way and saying, if that's the case, I also don't like moral relativism. I don't like the idea that what's good for one person is good for the next person. I think that there's somewhere we can hash it out some later time, but there is a better way to do it than if it's okay for you, it's okay for you. My concern is libertarianism is very similar, where it's like, okay, I want my own personal liberty and freedom. Don't fuck with me. You can have yours. Well, at some point, those two may potentially clash, and libertarianism is not the answer. And so that's my ultimate concern with libertarianism is like, yes, I don't like having a unifying body that's got power, but I also don't like the fact that my neighbor could, have a strip joint like immediately next door or whatever else. It's the first thing I thought of in my head. And, there not be some sort of rules and regulations based on what they can and cannot do. And so, like, I don't know how to slice the bread on that. Like, how do I determine? Right. How do I determine? That's my concern.
Right. But I guess for me is that it's the again it's the execution of policy versus would it be functionally, it's not outside the realm of libertarianism that we as neighbors could form a neighborhood association, for lack of a better word, that has a set of rules, but it's agreed to set of rules as opposed to handed down from the higher body. And yes, there's the argument that the higher body.
What's the difference?
Set of rules is because it's. I mean, it's it's not agreed to in the same sense in my understanding of it.
I mean, I disagree with that. I mean, there's a social contract involved. I mean, like if you want to change it, change it. I mean, this is me also just saying, 4 minutes ago that truth is not the answer. But I mean, if you're looking for truth at the local level, I mean, it's as we've said a million times here, it's easier to do at the local level than it is at federal or state level. So I mean, it's not philosophically consistent for me to say libertarianism is the way to go, but we need to have rules. And it's like, well, I'm okay with my own libertarianism. I mean, I'll be okay with yours. And if that's the case, then it's not libertarianism anymore.
Well, I mean, I think the difference with what Seth's saying on, if you have a group of homeowners in a subdivision that agree on the rules of that subdivision, that's completely different than the city having a group of unelected officials that say, hey, we need to have zoning laws in this subdivision, and then we make those zoning laws. That's none of the people who live in that subdivision are making. And
as the city people who paid attention to when they did the recode in the city, they'll recode you and they don't even tell you about it.
I don't have an argument for that. I mean, I don't have an issue with. I mean, I agree with you on that.
But again, the point's being, it's like, well, I guess one of the problems I have, and maybe this is not exactly where you're going with it, is that there's an assumption when somebody states a libertarian leaning or whatever you want to call it, that there's a chaos to it, that there is no.
No, I don't feel that.
No, there is no way that some of the things that we do as a collective through government couldn't be done outside of government, I guess is. And so the libertarian says, let's look at ways of doing this outside of government instead of having the government be the one that does it.
But my concern with that is that's really semantics. Like, we're just talking about labels at that point. Like, government versus what? We get together in a basement and say here who votes nay or yay. Like, what the hell's the difference?
I mean, I think there's a functional difference in voluntarily agreeing to something versus voting for somebody and they make a change that you may or may not agree with, but you are by social contract rules volunteering to adhere to what the elected official does. It's a step. There's at least one step between me volunteering and it being volunteered upon me, I guess is the way to say it.
I don't really understand the volunteer thing. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're not getting a salary, that means you're volunteering. I mean, like, what does that mean?
No, just I don't mean volunteering as like spending my time doing anything. I mean volunteering is like I voluntarily agree to this. Like, as a neighborhood we get together, I voluntarily agree that I'm not going to turn my house into a strip club. Yeah,
but there's a lot of folks again like people don't. I mean, you see that in some of these council non-official political party deals. Like, people of the same ilk stay together. Like, what happens if you're in an area where it's not the same? Like, you don't have the same values.
That's a problem.
You move. I mean, like, that's my concern with it. Is like,
I agree. I don't disagree with that. That there is.
I mean, you have to, like, what are you going to do? Interview your neighborhood before you go buy a house?
I mean, potentially. I mean, that's what. I mean,
come on, that's not going to happen.
Who's going to do that shit? But that's what. I mean, that's what a homeownerization already is. It's a printed rule book for the neighborhood you're moving into, on top of the city and county rules that apply already.
Okay.
I'm just saying that's what it is. That it already does exist. In many levels,
right? But how's that any different than, like, if you're gonna say, okay, well, we're gonna go libertarian here on this? Like, what changes then? Nothing. So, like, what makes it? What makes this? Let's label it libertarianism. What makes that any different? Government versus HOA.
Because I'm by purchasing the house, I am acknowledging and agreeing to that. I am voluntarily taking on those restrictions on my property.
You could move. You could move out of Tennessee if you didn't like the way the elected officials are doing. You could. I mean, it's the same thing. If you're going to move into an HOA, you could move out of the state.
Potentially, yes. I agree with that.
I mean, I don't see any difference, is what I'm saying. The elected official thing, I'm with you. So, like, if you're not elected, we're on the same page with that. But, I mean, if you can choose which subdivision to live in, you can also choose to live in a different county.
To some degree, yeah.
I mean, to a fairly large degree.
Right.
It's not like Idaho where the counties are massive.
But you're still under. I can't. They may be out there, but I can't think of a lot of counties that are substantially different governmentally in a way that it would be a significant change in my liberty's sake situation kind of conversation. Staying on the.
You got to give me some specifics, though. It's too general. I mean, like, at the end of the day, if we're comparing your ability to move in or out of an HOA, my argument would be, I mean, is it going to be any different in in a different HOA than it would be if you moved to a different county? I mean, it's probably very similar.
Probably.
I mean, if your budget's the same, if you're looking for a $500,000 home, your HOA in a $500,000 home is going to be the same in Knox County as it's going to be in Sevier County.
Cost-wise or function-wise?
It's the same. It's $500,000 regardless. I'm not talking about like Boston and Knoxville because it's a different set of. But I mean, within reason, if you're buying a $500,000 house in Maryville, it's probably similar to a $500,000 home in Farragut.
Right, and for the most part, right, and the laws and the actual county laws of Knox County or the township of Farragut and Sevierville or whatever probably are already similar as they sit too.
And the HOAs are probably similar too.
So what's the okay? The HOA is not the point I'm getting at there, but I follow what you're saying.
I'm saying it's a label. Is my concern. Like I am 100% on board with liberty as a thing. I don't like to be fucked with. I don't like to be told what to do. I don't like power. Other people having power, stuff like that. But at the same time, I don't champion it enough. I don't trust my neighbor enough that I'm not at least acquaintances with to not take advantage of that. That's my issue, actually. Fundamentally, that's my issue.
Okay.
If I don't put a lot of stock in people that I'm not familiar with or that I don't associate with. I don't trust that our values are aligned. And maybe they are, and I just haven't communicated with them. But I'm going to assume that they're not, which is why we don't talk until I've decided otherwise.
Right, and theoretically, the inverse is the same. That neighbor doesn't know you, doesn't trust you to do what they want to do.
Look at this no talent ass clown driving a damn Range Rover. Well, it's like I've had more dead deer in the back of this thing than you've killed in the last 10 years. So
why got to take a stand like that? God damn.
Oh, not you. I mean you. I meant the neighbor. The neighbor that I don't talk to. I talk to you.
Yeah, but every other part of that was accurate except for the talk to you part.
Well, that's fair.
That applied to me.
It's unfortunate you feel that way about me and the Range Rover. It's a nice it's a nice 4Runner out there. It's a nice 4Runner.
I like it.
Well, hey, me and AC and I were talking about hunting in Idaho, and then that came on like, man, maybe we should just buy land out there. And then I was looking at Idaho and Wyoming because they're right next to each other. And I sent him, you can get 160 acres flat with a river running through it for $44,000.
That's cheaper than the Range Rover.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Acres. I was like, that's stupid.
That is crazy. The only concern, of course, is, we have to buy a plane.
To go hunting.
Because we're gonna drive 21 hours. I mean, we've had a little bit of pushback over the years about making return trips. Not you and I, but other folks in our little soiree about returning back to Waverly. We'll fucking do it in a day, but
I don't know. I don't know if 21 hours in the camper would go very well. Because
it'd be funny as hell.
That'd be 3 days.
Are you shitting me? That'd be great. We'd be drunk before we got to Memphis.
Yeah, it'd be a mess. Well, we can't cross. We'd have to go a different way. We can't cross the river in Memphis.
Is the bridge down?
I don't know if they got it back open yet or not, but it was shut down for a couple of days. That big ass crack. Yeah, did you not hear about that?
No. Huh?
Oh yeah, there was a crack that apparently has been there for a while, and one of the
crack in Memphis.
Huh?
We know that. Everyone knows there's crack in Memphis.
That's true. Different kind of crack.
Yeah, in the I-40 bridge that crosses right there in Memphis, it was enough that there was an inspector out on the bridge for just a regular inspection that he's all rigged up and hanging over the edge and checking all this stuff out or whatever, that from his rig he calls 911 to come out and close down traffic.
Holy shit.
And it was closed down for a couple of days and before they had a general repair. I mean, Sam was talking about it. They shut down the river. Barge traffic was closed down for a period of time until they could confidently say the bridge wasn't going to collapse.
Listen, this is not a political statement. I really mean this. We've been needing to put budgetary funding towards our infrastructure for a long time in this country.
I mean, that goes. I don't disagree with that in the general statement of it. But it's one of those things to me that and this goes into a lot of the budgetary stuff, especially government level stuff. I can't wrap my head around the cost of some of these projects. I'd have to go back and look at it, but how much, when they retrofitted and cleaned up and fixed Henley Street in that 3-year project or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it was tens of millions, maybe $100 million project or something like that. It was a huge number. And it's I'm not saying it's not accurate and it's not needed or whatever, but I can't wrap
Why is it so much money?
I can't wrap my head around that. That something that so basic as a bridge that has been around for millennia could be so complicated and expensive to build.
Build it.
What'd you say?
That bridge didn't cost that much in the 1920s when they built it.
I mean, there's value of money as part of that question, but yes, you're also in equatable funding. It was probably significantly less than too, and it may have been. It may be significantly cheaper to start from new than to fix some of these older bridges. It may be cheaper to tear them down and build a new one.
Well, Mayor Pete was there. So apparently, a part of the cost for this bridge here. This is in the Washington Post. The Tennessee Department of Transportation needs custom-made 150-foot plates weighing 53 tons each to repair the crack. That sounds intense.
But I mean, how much? Say the specs on that plate again.
The Tennessee Department of Transportation needs custom-made 150-foot plates weighing 53 tons each to repair the crack. So I think some of it is forget about how much it costs. Jesus Christ, how do you transport that here? Like it was $2,000 to transport a Range Rover here, for fuck's sake. Imagine how much it's going to cost to get that thing wherever the hell it's even made.
Yeah,
I don't even know where it's made.
Yeah, I mean, and that's I think part of that is the result of our what's the word, offshoring, for lack of a better word.
Sure.
Like that was there was probably when that was back in the probably 50s when that bridge was originally built. And there was probably some steel mill in Ohio or Indiana or Southern Illinois that wasn't that far away that was that was churning shit like that out every day of the week for all over the country and stuff like that.
It's true.
And then, I mean, hell, probably realistically, that's Eisenhower post World War II.
Yeah, New Deal stuff.
And then getting into all that. Roosevelt New Deal stuff, but Eisenhower Interstate Project is one of those things, and again, I think I think that's part of the issue for sure. Is that the peripherals that go into the infrastructure aren't as available as they used to be, because we're not building a lot of new roads anymore. Like there was a time in this country where there were probably hundreds of miles a day getting paved here and there, and so there was company after company that weren't just paving roads, but the companies that were making, the machines that did the work, and all the different other stuff doesn't exist like it used to, which is probably one of the things that runs up costs nowadays.
Yeah.
So back in the day, they were like, we need to build a dam. Okay, let's build a concrete plant next to the dam. Let's build a steel mill. They used to build that shit next to where they're building these giant structures because of that reason,
right,
of not having support stuff.
And some of them would stick around for a while and do other stuff that because a lot of times you build a bridge like that Memphis bridge, you get an economic boom from it because you get all this new access from all over the country. And so a lot of those concrete plants and stuff would stick around for a while, even though they were only built for the project, but they'd stick around for a while and keep doing other stuff.
Economic boom from Arkansas?
Well, you got to put a gas station in Memphis so you can get across the bridge.
I wonder if this is the natural direction of advanced Western capitalism. Meaning 40 plus years ago, we didn't outsource nearly as much. Like our fathers and grandfathers would work in factories and that sort of thing. We ship all that shit overseas. Now we essentially have all of our clothes made in a third world country, and all of our steel and stuff is made overseas. And is this the natural progression of this sort of thing? Like we require developing nations to exploit the labor costs associated with not wanting to pay for that particular service here anymore, or product here. And I just wonder if this is the natural course of how things are going to be.
I think that is absolutely a factor in the game for sure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give it. I don't even know if I'd give it top status in the factors of, but I think it's definitely up there on the list because
factors of what? Sorry, I just want to make sure I'm on the same page.
As far as there's the cycle of capitalism, the natural decline. That will eventually happen for one reason or the other. I think there's a number of factors happening, and that's absolutely high on the list. Because I think there's one of those, like there's the law of diminishing returns is a huge one. There's a point where yes, there is sustainable continued growth possible even inside the system that already exists, but for every $1 billion generated in U.S. GDP or whatever, it is percentage-wise less effective to the whole, and so you
Right.
you keep adding the growth, and yes, it's growth, but it's not offsetting, the inflation that's going along with it and all the other kind of parts and pieces.
That's why I don't buy into a lot of this U.S.-China rhetoric stuff, because at the end of the day, we both need each other.
I agree.
I mean, like China needs our money, and we need China because we're not going to send people back to factories to make this shit anymore. And so it just seems like
right. I mean,
it's a whole rhetoric at that.
Yeah,
at this point.
it would be a 72-hour war,
or less.
Yeah, it would be just forget the actual hot war part of it. It would be just the full economic shutdown between the two.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And whoever does it first is like, oh fuck, we can't do this.
Yeah, which is why we don't have it.
Right.
Because I mean, there is a relationship involved where we both know, and they know that we require whatever we require the other person.
I think the only factor at play that doesn't make that 100% true is that China is getting to the point where, while we are probably their number one consumer and probably by a factor, it's not as big a factor as it has been. They're getting into other countries and being the major supplier for other countries other than just us.
I don't disagree with that, but the amount of money that we have is
I agree.
It's I mean, so I don't know. I don't buy this whole China rhetoric shit.
China can't really be like, oh well, we'll stop making your shit. All
okay,
right, cool.
then we'll stop.
We'll stop buying it, and we'll give it. We'll give all this money to fucking Ghana.
Yeah.
Or someplace.
I mean, India was an option, and
Bangladesh.
is a little bit of an option right now, and and at some point, developing portions of Africa will get in on the game. And
you got to think that any sort of like entry level intelligence person for the government has it's got to be a known fact, right? Like you're not going to look at a newspaper article and say, "Oh, tensions between U.S. and China."
Right.
Is that even
a
thing?
I think it goes back to the other conversation. That is in one of the glorious phrases you like to say all the time. It's a smoke and mirrors thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And both parties at play know it.
Sure.
I think China knows it just as well as we do. And when Trump's out there blaming the virus on China, and the Chinese whoever is on his press conference talking shit about Trump,
it's nationalism for both people.
It's
all it is.
It's nationalism, but it's also one of those there's a lot of other problems that we both have as countries that we're not talking about because you guys are talking about we're not getting along right now, and that's scary. It's like, well, that gets us off the conversation about the Uyghur Muslim camps in China, and that gets us off the conversation about the homelessness crisis that we have in this country.
Sure.
Because we're too busy talking about, oh no, we might go to war with China, even though everybody that has any real input on it know it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's intentional deflection.
Yeah.
But it riles up people that don't sit back and think about it. I mean, it riles up the good folk of Waverly, Tennessee that look at the newspaper and be like, right there, Trump, he's gonna kill those Chinese fuckers. You watch it. He ain't fucking around. He ain't fucking around. I bet Biden he'd let that shit happen. And it's like, well, no, they're both gonna let that happen. Like, nobody's gonna fuck with China, and China's not gonna fuck with us.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree on that one. So, for our Facebook followers, I put this post up there because this is something that's become an annoyance of mine. So it's Pride Month right now. I'm not opposed to Pride Month. I'm not opposed to celebrating, the diversity in people and anything like that. But so this, I stole this from Deplorable Media, and they're trying to make fun of Chick-fil-A. And to me, I don't think it makes fun of Chick-fil-A. I think it makes fun of everybody else at play right now. Where it's, I don't know if it's the same girl or not. I don't think it is. But it's just one girl who's got her rainbow hair on, and it says every company during Pride Month, and then Chick-fil-A. It's this girl that's really drab looking, going to Chick-fil-A to work or whatever. And so, my question in that is are we we're upset at Chick-fil-A because they're homophobic or whatever?
First of all, I don't think it's a we.
Okay, but
this person
is upset at Chick-fil-A because they're homophobic or whatever.
Okay,
where they're okay with I don't know, anybody else that just for the month of May because it's good sales throws on their rainbow flag and says, hey, we like gay people too, come buy our shit.
Sure.
And I don't know. To me, I would side with Chick-fil-A and saying, I don't necessarily agree with your value structure, but at least you're consistent.
I'm not siding with anybody. I think that the fourth word in that and the phrase of virtue signaling is nothing more than rhetoric, and so I don't give a fuck. I'm not even going to bother. In this, I mean, I can talk about this situation with you, but in this particular circumstance, looking at it on the screen here, I don't give a fuck. At the end of the day, the person that posted this is looking for the rhetoric attention to this. Mm-hmm. That's all they're looking for. And I'm still going to buy my chicken, and I'm also going to buy chicken from people that wear their hair like that. I don't give a fuck.
Right. I just think to me, I find it. I find the disingenuousness, and again, this is me being the more probably free market kind of person in the conversation. It bothers me more that, especially when you get into the big companies, that it's just like I think it was who was the sketch? This comedian had a bit. Might have been Chris Rock. Anyway, has a bit. It's like, when do you guys think 9/11 is going to be a sales holiday? Referencing the premise that, like Memorial Day, we just went through Memorial Day, and it's like, 25% off mattress at the mattress store. It's become that thing. It's like, this is a holiday for a reason. Hot dogs and hamburgers and fireworks and that kind of stuff. That's part of it to me. But it's just this.
People are not working though, so they can spend money because they're not at work.
Right, but that part bothers me more, is that like the backpacking onto the whatever the thing is, and this is just another example of that to me.
I don't disagree with that, but I mean, at the same time, the more attention we give to these fuckers, the more this continues. Because I mean, at the end of the day, you take this down the fucking rabbit hole, you can virtue signal anything.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking when you were doing your military example, I was thinking it's like you could go the other way too. Like, what was your military example? Like, we need to look at the budgets or whatever, and you're going to get that immediate chorus of you don't like the military thing, and there's a whole other subset of people that will go out there and be like, you like the military too much. You want to have any military? That's ridiculous. And
right.
that if you want to play the signaling game, you can play either side of it. You just have to use the right phrasing and whatever to rhetoric it in the way that you want to. And
I just completely disengage with those people.
Yeah,
and because that is all superficial bullshit that those individuals that are attempting to go down that road on, they're not interested in truth. Otherwise, they wouldn't be talking about the superficial stuff.
Right.
I mean, they're not interested in truth. And so if we're not looking at the same goal, why am I bothering having a conversation with you? We're not looking for the same goal here. We're not having a dialogue to try to determine how can we chip away at the edges and come to an agreement. That's not what we're looking at here. What we're looking at is just bullshit, superficial rhetoric. That's what we're caring about.
Right. How do I get you excited to do what I want you to actually do?
Yeah. I would argue they don't even care that you do that. They argue. I would argue that what they're actually trying to do is put you on the defensive and make it seem like that you are less of a person.
Okay.
Like I don't think
you pull a fancy maneuver and take the moral high ground in a conversation.
Correct. That's all that is.
Has right.
It has nothing to do with agreeing.
Right. At the end, there is no end in the conversation. It's literally I got the high ground, so I win.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's all sorts of
so I don't engage.
Star Wars memes in there.
I just don't engage. I'm just like, okay, that's how you feel. Cool. Fuck you. I'm out.
But I don't know. And again,
why do you have to engage?
I agree. I totally agree.
I mean, that's where I don't. That's where like when we go back into talking about libertarianism or whatever, and like homeowners associations and the laws and rules that are getting in place, because those people are out there and they're making decisions based on their lack of knowledge, and how at some point we have to engage to get the numbers to get a more functional, unless we're just throwing up our hands and be like, well, it's always going to be a power struggle. At the end of the day, I just need to do what I can do for me and forget everybody else. This system is broken and it doesn't matter anymore. There has to be some level of that we can rally a mass to get things moving in a direction for a positive outcome.
You engage the people that need to be engaged. I mean, I think that's part of the issue. We just got to find the people that have the right name tags on. Like you're not going to engage with people that are fucking writing shit on Facebook. I mean, they're fucking no talent ass clowns. They have no say so in this whatsoever. Period.
But going back to the original thing, the original conversation of if I don't put a pride flag up in my business, it doesn't mean I'm homophobic.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
It means I'm lazy or cheap.
Is if you don't support it, that means you're against it.
Right.
I don't support Valentine's Day. Like all the freaking holidays we have. Like you go to Walmart and every 2 months, that one left side of the store switches into the next thing you need to waste your money on for no reason, because it's Valentine's Day, Easter, I mean, it's just one holiday after another, and it's like, I don't.
And the one that really matters is the one they always skip. They always skip Thanksgiving. That's the good one. on November 1st, it's Christmas. And it's like, you're skipping the best one. What are we doing?
Well, what do you want to sell?
I don't know.
I would disagree. I mean, like a Honey Baked Ham Company makes more money in November than they do.
Right. And for the sake of, for the sake of the capitalist part of it, no, the Thanksgiving is maybe that's why it's my favorite, because it's the least capital. Other than the Macy's Day Parade, which is one of my favorite things, and that's super capital.
I don't know how you capitalize on it. I mean, I would agree. I would argue that it is the most marketed one. I mean, if you don't have Black Friday,
right, it is the most marketed for the next holiday. Like it is literally the.
You don't have Black Friday without Thanksgiving, though.
Right.
So I would argue that the only reason why Christmas is as large as it is as a capitalist holiday is because of Thanksgiving.
Right. It's just an ad marker, though. It's not that it's a holiday per se. It's just that that's our mark point for the official start of the party.
I mean, but it's no different than Memorial Day and selling beds.
Well, but I guess my point is Memorial Day is selling beds. Thanksgiving's selling Christmas. Where?
Okay, I mean, you're not selling beds for soldiers on Memorial Day.
I mean, you might, but
come on, you're not selling American flags with MAGA on them for Memorial Day. I mean,
you're probably made in China too, which is
I'm sure. I have no doubt.
There's a guy running around. I think he's running around Knoxville. It's got a "fuck Biden" flag that he flies everywhere, and it's like
it's just crazy.
It's weird.
Yeah, like even in times where I was just like, God, Trump is a kook. Like I would never attach any of that stuff to my vehicle. Like I would just internalize that and just say there are things that he does that I'm okay with, and there are things that he does that I'm not okay with. And
it's I mean that is a weirdism for sure. Because generally speaking, yeah, people put their flags and their yard signs and their bumper stickers and all that kind of stuff. But when it's over, it's over.
Yeah,
like it's starting to get a little. I mean, it's not starting to it's well into. It's like this is a little bit much. Like because again, that's a virtue signal of its own.
Sure, it is 100%.
It cracks me up when you're driving around town and you see like Hillary, for president sticker on the back of somebody's car. I'm like, should have thought about that when you first put that on there.
Or go invest in some Goo Gone and get that shit. Just take it off.
Yeah. I thought it was funny. This was an interesting thing. I'm sure polling data told them that it riled up their base and got rhetoric involved and that sort of thing. But like, think about the times that you saw on Fox News and give me a second. Let me finish this thought, and I'll say the same thing about Trump. How many times on Fox News did you hear stuff about Hillary? And we're like 3 years into Trump's presidency. It's like, why are we even talking about her? Like, she's not running at all. Like,
not yet.
Why are we doing this? And the same thing with, like CNN and Trump. It's like, why are we talking about this cat? Like, he's not there anymore. Like,
I could answer the CNN and Trump question.
Well, I mean, of course it's marketing and advertising and gets people. I get all that. But like, again, it's going back to the theme of this really is that the goal is not about truth. The goal is about money. And the goal is about positioning and rhetoric and power. That's all any of this is about. And so, like, it's just so much easier when you start to realize this sort of stuff and, like, truly appreciate it, you can just completely disengage and not bother you at all. It's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go kill some deer this weekend. Right. Because, like, I don't give a fuck about this bullshit that's going on television. It doesn't affect me right now at all. Like, if Trump was reelected, like, at the end of the day, I just disengage from it. Like, my life doesn't change because he's elected. Like it doesn't. But I'm told that it does.
Right.
So
what we don't do though, speaking about hunting, we don't use our stature of being famous people to help us with hunting. So if there's anybody out there that has hunting land anywhere in the world that wants to invite us out there to go hunting,
almostagreement@gmail.com.
Exactly. Just email us and we'll come out and hunt with you. You don't have to pay for us to be out there. It's a free charge. So,
and you can we'll give you a guest spot on the show.
Yes, we'll let you be a guest on the show.
Yeah,
that's what we need to use our stardom for. Stardom, is that the right?
Yeah, I think that's an appropriate thing. I bet you we could get Daryl on here.
Yeah, all right, I'll do it.
I'm not going to do it.
I mean, he's calling in. I don't know if he gets to come to.
You'd never get him to leave.
Exactly.
I mean. The only thing you can hope for is that the cell phone battery dies mid-conversation.
Yeah. I mean, I can...
Out there be out there mowing your lawn and you pull up in a side by side. Hey, Dad,
Like, hey, did you see this winch? Man, this thing's fucked up. Oh, that's
trying
funny.
to pull a semi truck with it, and the engine couldn't handle it. Well, no shit, buddy.
That's so funny. Side note: Are we? I put all the TWRA ID stuff in a little Google Doc. Are we? What do we want to do for hunting priorities? This is probably not a podcast conversation.
I don't care. I mean, I'm still at this point. I've got a vendetta at Chuck Swan. I want to shoot something there. And it's also convenient. But
Caduceus is convenient.
it's just as close to you as Chuck Swan is.
It really is.
okay. I mean, I don't work weekends anymore, so I've got, it's not the same debacle as it was last time. The Fridays are still off.
If you don't work weekends anymore, you should. Depends on. You should come out with us for archery at Waverly. You could scout out a little bit.
Perhaps.
We have a few compounds and 2 crossbows.
Yeah, you have to get the license, but
It's $30.
not a big deal. Yeah,
If you go with us, I'll pay for it.
I don't care about that part of it, but that's football season. It's another animal of childcare and stuff like that. So we'll have to see.
We can go up and go back. We did that several times, and it's actually pretty quick if you're in a Range Rover. Like we got there in what, Max? You think we got to Waverly in 3 hours? Yeah.
There's a better. There's a better use our stardom for stuff. We need a processor.
There's one in Clinton.
A sponsor for processing.
Yeah, we need a. Maybe that's what. Maybe what we need to do is we need to go to. We need to send Max the super salesman out to sell ad space, and only pick people that we want to give us bonuses with the ads.
Yeah, that's true.
So go find.
Do ad trade.
Yeah, find some processors here in town. And be like,
okay.
We'll give you ads on the podcast. You give us a couple of deer processing, and we'll call it.
I wonder if that Amish or Jewish, Yiddish, whatever the hell place it was that I got that second deer processed at. I wonder if they would be on board with that sort of thing. Because, I may if I get one at archery opening weekend, and you guys or whoever is with me, I may just take it just drive an hour out of the way and just fucking drop it off there.
How was you got some bologna and stuff, right?
Yeah, it's good, man.
How was
it's good. It's got jalapenos mixed into it already. It's good. Like, if you get something and you don't want to hurry up and get your ass back into the woods, I would highly recommend. Do what you want to do. I'll drive you anywhere. But I would highly recommend using that place again. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
That's what I mean. Going back into the land conversation, I'd like to figure out how to do it.
Me too.
Back in the corner of the property, have a
a
garage.
Let me tell you something. When we get a house, if it's toward the end of our hunting thing and I can keep the meat fresh, I will be doing it at home. I will be doing that before I die. 100%.
Yeah, I'd like to learn some of the ins and outs of it. And
yeah,
at the end of the day, you just.
I hope you do, AC, because I will be paying you to do mine.
Nah, man, I'll do it for free.
Oh,
it was like that one that he shot last year. I was like, he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go pick up my arrow." I'm like, "Hey, man, I'm gonna start field dressing." He comes over there, like the damn thing is gutted. I'm already elbow deep in this thing. I love that shit. No, but
Austin was like, "Damn it! Like, I needed to videotape it because he did it so fast. I was trying to pay attention to see what he's never had a deer. He's like, I don't even know exactly what he did."
So I made venison medallions and some fish the other day, and just minor things that other processor did. So I got the steak out, but they had already butterflied the steak and put like little pieces of plastic in to make sure that the frozen portions of the butterfly didn't stick together. So if I just wanted to like cut the rest of that off, I could do that. I was like, man, that was really nice of you. You didn't have to fucking do that shit. Anyway, just like little stuff like that. I was like, fuck, this is all right. Like, I'll give you my money.
Yeah. There's some, anyway, like there's some stuff like the Renella's like on the Meat Eater show, like he does like every 6th episode or whatever, he does in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Those are some of my favorite episodes on there where it's like, just like the guy does it so often, so many animals, and he's so good at it. And it's like, he's got like 2 cookbooks now. It's just, that's cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know how to do that. Like I would love, like I said, I'd love to have like a garage in the back, and it's big freezer in it, big cooler in it.
100% agree.
But then it's at least has some sort of AC unit so you can make the room real cold while you're in there working.
Mm-hmm.
Grinders and all the proper tools to do it properly. I would love to get.
Yeah, well, I will have that before Ava's in high school. 100%.
Well, Seth, your first step needs to be actually kill something.
Yeah.
And the second step is to process.
I mean, and to be fair and fully honest about it, I might hate it. Like I might actually get a kill and be like, I really don't like this.
Nah,
I like the game. I like playing out. I like hanging out. I like doing all the stuff that's on around it. And I may not like killing stuff. I'll still go out. There's no question on that part.
But
I doubt it. But
I doubt it too, just because like you enjoy cooking and you're good at it, and I feel like that extra level of autonomy that you'd have to utilize an animal that you had harvested yourself. I
agree.
I really think that's
that
a
is
lot
my
of
assumption as well. But there's a part of me that goes that like if I'm honest about it, it's like there's part of me like I might do it and be like, really don't like doing that.
Maybe, but I doubt it. I'll kill.
But I'll go anyway. I mean, I'll still go on. I'll still go on at least opening weekend.
Hell, fucking Max was coming over that second one that I shot. He was walking across the fucking creek, and I was firing at doe trying to come across the creek as I was carrying one out. It's like fuck, I'll kill every damn one of them out here. Good times.
Indeed. Just like a good shot. At least one good shot.
I don't think you're still enough, and I know that's a thing for you.
I know. I don't disagree with you. If I stay still for too long, I start nodding off. Regardless of how well I slept the night before, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what's going on. I sit there too long, and it's like.
No, not me, man. So I feel like every single time. Well, at least I'd say like 75% of the times that I've shot a deer, I haven't even heard it really, and it was there. So like if I'm not paying attention,
yeah.
It's going to fucking pass me, and I'm just nodding off for 30 seconds. That may be the only 30-second window I have in this 5 hours. Yeah, no, man, I could. It's like I'm doing meth when I'm out there. I'm fucking wired.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it changes when I get my first.
Maybe.
And the hooks are in, and now I'm on it, and everything else goes away. But yeah. I mean, regardless, I just enjoy wandering the woods. Period. So
that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. See more reason why you should go to archery.
Yeah,
completely different, dude. Completely fucking.
A whole
different.
bunch of less leaf litter would be helpful for me wandering too.
It's just they just. I don't know if you agree with this, Max. I think you and I talked about this last time, but last time we talked about archery season, it's just they move differently. They are not as skittish. They It's almost like that it's like a completely different animal you're going after.
Yeah, I mean, that buck I saw, like when I first saw him, I was like, oh shit! And if it was rifle season, I would have shot him probably 10 minutes before I'd actually shot him, and I was like, well, here he goes. He's walking right over here. Like, walk over there right in front of my blind. All right, turn, cool. It's not like. Yeah, I mean, they're definitely not skittish like they are during rifle season.
I didn't even know you hit it, actually, because we were... Did I drive? Is that what happened, or did you take the RV? I don't remember.
No, you drove.
Okay. So maybe I was back at the car or something, and you just were sort of like whistling as you were walking up to the car. And I was like, well, this motherfucker's happy for some goddamn reason. But, you don't hear anything. Like, you don't hear the shot of the crossbow. Right. You're like, hey, man, something. I don't remember what it was about the phone, but you were like, hey, so I took some pictures out here. Hey, look at this tree. Look at this tree. Look at this dead fucking deer right here. I'm like, holy shit, did you kill that? Fuck yes, I did. I'm like, holy shit. It's just a different feeling, man. Like, you don't hear gunshots. It's just, I don't know. I can see myself seriously getting into archery.
I do. I mean, Catoosa.
Yeah.
October 2nd. Well, not 2nd, 5th, something like that.
You cool with an archery up there?
Do what?
You cool with an archery hunt up at Catoosa?
Probably. I don't know. It's a long ways away.
It's not that. I mean, not really. It's not. It's not really. It's fucking June. It's 90 days.
Yeah, I got to get my. I need to go ahead and get my permit for this year. I haven't bought my license yet.
I haven't bought mine either.
I guess I'm buying your base license. Since what I want to get you is a holster, but
I'll take that.
I need your gun.
Okay.
I don't need the gun per se. But I need the measurements.
I'm thinking about buying a new pistol. Actually,
yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that.
It's a big ass fucking
pistol. Let me know what you want. I probably have one in the safe I can sell you.
Okay.
You have to get the little black book out.
I'm looking. So the 357, of course, doesn't have a safety on it, and I every time that I've went into the woods, I just don't feel as comfortable having a gun on my person that doesn't have a safety. Not that I think I'm going to shoot myself with it, but I mean, stranger things have fucking happened, and so.
That's kind of why I was thinking holster for you, because you have it in your little bib pouch or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like the holster I was looking at. It would be in the same spot for you. It's just actually a holster instead of a pocket.
I mean, I would much rather have that than the hunting license. That's for sure.
Yeah, I've got a man satchel on order. It's a carry satchel.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start using for just my general, like, everyday kind of random shit I like to carry with me when I'm out and about.
We were.
But it's cool because it's got like it's a zipper pouch or whatever, but it has like a quick release thing where like the whole front of the bag comes off to get the holster part.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I'm excited about it because I just can't seem to find anything that's comfortable, like, waistband wise. Like, it's just.
Yeah, I don't want to do a waistband either. I feel like I'm not wide erp. You know what I mean? Like, I need a little bit. I don't know. I feel like I need something closer to the chest. I could just grab it and draw.
I like my holster.
Do you?
I mean, I could see for being in the woods getting because you got the thigh holster thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that for like being in the woods or stuff, but it's either that or get a different carry weapon because it's just mine's a little bigger than I want it to be just for general carry.
I don't know, man. We were talking about maybe hunting in Idaho, and like some of those, we were looking at gray wolves the other day, are like 2.5 to 3 feet tall.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
We talked that about the other podcast. I was like, holy shit, that thing is huge.
Yeah, fuck yes, it's big. And like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't even know if I'd bring a pistol. I think I'd just bring a shotgun. Like, I would just bring a shotgun, a pack of 6 or 8 of those fuckers come out there. I mean, there's not a 9mm in the world that's going to stop those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the other thing we were looking up. The one hunt at a goodbye. It was elk hunting, and it was archery, muzzle loader, shotgun, or pistol. And I'm like, who the fuck hunts elk with a pistol?
Yeah, like,
what kind of pistol is that?
Yeah,
get my Desert Eagle out and go to work.
I don't even. I mean, maybe this is my fucking unprofessional approach to guns, but Jesus Christ, I can't imagine that using a pistol against an elk would be
it's not a very ethical.
I mean, forget about ethics. It's a 700-pound fucking animal. You're going to try to shoot it with how many rounds are you going to put into it?
What I'm saying, it's not likely to be an ethical kill if you're going to take, if it's, even if you put one right in a sweet spot, it's probably only going through the shoulder, but not maybe a lung, but it's not going to hit the heart of the other lung.
They have those AR pistols that are considered pistols that shoot like a 300 blackout. So.
That's insane.
If that would be legal.
You got to shoot it from like 13 feet or something like that?
No, it's got about 300-yard accuracy.
Jesus.
Wow.
We were discussing earlier, like 300, the audacity of a 300-yard shot with a rifle.
I would take a 300-yard shot and be okay with it. I think we're like when we're going to like maybe not okay with it. Maybe back up a little bit. I would feel like that my chances are fairly decent if I had enough time to,
right?
And
especially clear. There's not, you're not trying to weave through a forest.
If we're looking at like 400, 500, 600, I mean, I'm gonna take the shot, but I don't know if I make this thing. You guys will never hear the end of this shit.
Yeah,
I'll be bragging about this shit forever.
I'm gonna retire on this story. I'm gonna write a book about it, and that's the end of my life.
Yep.
I'm gonna go ahead and kill myself tomorrow because there'll never be anything better than that.
I would call Seth and be like, listen, dude, on-demand tickles for the rest of my life.
Oh, the list of things that I'm never gonna live down.
I'm sending you guys this to look at. This is considered a pistol. So if Idaho considers it a pistol, it's listed as a pistol. I would hunt with that.
That doesn't look like a pistol.
No, it really doesn't.
No,
blackout pistol.
It's listed as a pistol, not a.
Wow.
All right, I'm going to pull an AC here. We're going to have to pull out. We need to look up the definition of pistol.
I mean, I've got the Iowa hunting and fishing website saved on my phone just because Max and I are probably going down that road at some point. I can probably pick it up and.
I mean, that looks. That looks exactly like an AR. Like it doesn't even. I mean, is it just like significantly smaller all around?
Oh yeah, it's only like 20 inches long, something like that.
What's the standard AR? See, I
E something.
I can't live down the tickle thing, but I can live down my lack of knowledge on guns with you guys somehow.
Yeah, but I think the lack of knowledge of guns is just more of a, just got to have more exposure. The tickle thing is just a tickle thing.
Yeah. I can at least say alcohol was involved, but I don't even think I can say that.
Nah, probably not.
I don't think it was.
Let's see. Idaho Fish and Game. Here we go. It's just crazy too that the gray wolf is hunting season year round in Idaho. Let's see if I can find the gun stuff here.
I mean, it's weird. Like on the more conservation part of the conversation, it's weird, and that you have places that are trying to introduce and trying to get populations healthy and up and running, and then you have other places where it's like kill them all.
Well, part of it is because it was like maybe 20 years ago, something like that. The state was trying to reintroduce the gray wolf because it was an endangered species. They were trying to reintroduce it into Idaho, and there was all this. There's a lot of research on this stuff about like bringing the herd back and whatever. But the problem is it's such an apex predator that it doesn't fear anything. It's like nothing takes it out at all.
Yeah.
So there was a map that I'd sent Max a couple of days ago when we were talking about going out there and hunting, and there's like documented, I don't know, how many are on there, Max? Like 70 maybe different packs throughout the state of wolves, and like they only brought in several dozen, and there's like 70 plus that are packs now that are territorial. It's crazy.
It is, yeah. It is the type. It is the type that It is. It doesn't really care if you're a person either. It doesn't care if you're a beef cattle or if you're horses or if you're a family dog. And once it gets into any sort of populated area, pretty quickly becomes a problem. Like the British Columbia bear conversation was one of the craziest ones I'd heard.
What's that?
What is it? What does Canada have? Not territories. What's Canada broken up into?
Territories.
No, it's not
provinces.
Provinces. And so whatever the provinces had, it ended up being a ballot item on bear hunts, on grizzly bear, and like 85% of the entire population of the province is in Vancouver, and so like all these city people that have never interacted with a bear in their fucking life. Like, no, we shouldn't hunt bears. They're beautiful, majestic animals, and it's like all these people that are out in the country that, live out in the woods and try to live their lives and shit, are now all of a sudden have issues with hunting bear, or even I think like part of it was like they couldn't do Anti-Predation Act, like a farmer's getting like some bears in his farm eating his sheep or whatever. And there's a whole process and had to bring the state in to hunt that bear for him because he wasn't allowed to hunt the bear.
Oh, that's fucking nuts.
Not the state, the principality or whatever the fuck.
Right.
Weird ass Canadians.
The authority.
Yeah. Canuckastanis. I stole that from a different podcast, but it's probably the funniest little phrase, funniest ism for Canadians I've heard of.
It's funny. I don't see anything on here about what a legal definition of a pistol is.
Well, then the mini AR is a go. I mean, might as well bring it with you for the backup in case you get wolves coming around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I would need dynamite. Like, I don't
know. I mean, it's another one of the Rogan podcasts. Can't remember who it was. It's one of the one of those survival shows. Some guy like above the Arctic Circle or whatever, and like while he, like it was one of the survival shows where the guys it's like truly alone. Like they're given the camera equipment and stuff, and they set up and they build their camp and do all this kind of shit. And this guy's homestead or whatever is on this lake, and it's the middle of the winter, so it's a frozen solid lake. And a pack of wolves starts coming across. Like I think he shot a moose. Like he shot a moose.
Those fuckers are huge.
Yeah, he shot a moose and he'd collected a portion of it and he'd taken it back to his homestead. And he was going back out to get some more of it, and a pack of wolves had found it. And so, he's like, well, shit. And so he heads back, and then like a couple, apparently like that night, he hears them. Like he hears them out on the lake. They're on the frozen lake right in front of his homestead or whatever, and they're howling and doing their whole fucking thing. And like it's this really long, slow movement where they're trying to see what he's doing. He's just watching them the whole time. And so like it ends up like he's I think he said he ended up shooting like 6 of them.
I would have shot every one of them.
But he's like, it was a very like tactical advance. Like they would send one a little bit closer, but the rest of the pack would stay over here. And he's like, I'd shoot that one. But while I'm shooting that one, the rest of the pack moves a little bit closer, and then they send another one out, and I shoot that one. And he's like, they kept doing that, and finally I got to like 6 of the 18 or 22 that was the pack.
That's fucking crazy.
And that they finally were like, all right, I guess this one doesn't work, and headed out.
Yeah, I'd shoot every fucking last one of them.
Yeah, and he's talking about 150 yards, I think, was the closest the pack got.
That's still too fucking close.
Yeah.
I mean, that's too fucking close.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. I would be. I'd be scared.
What kind of structure did he have?
I think it's a little cabin. It was solid. Like so, it's not
Did
like
it have a rooftop?
Yeah.
So I'd get my ass up on the fucking rooftop and I'd just fucking kill every goddamn one of them.
But I mean, he was up there, and it was one of those survival shows, and like what he had was there, and like he had like all his meat that he harvested. He had this outdoor freezer because it's the middle of winter.
So it probably smells it.
Yeah, and so he's like, I can't. He's like, fine, they don't come and kill me, but they come and steal all my stuff, and I'm fucked.
Yeah,
I don't make it through I'm dead either way if they get all the way to the cabin.
Yeah, I'm killing them.
And so, but he said they never came back. That was it. Like he never saw him again. He said one night or one day he was out scouting and finding some hunting spots or something like that, and he saw some tracks and some signs, some scat and whatever. But other than that, he never saw him again. I was like, good God, man. That'd be where I'm calling the emergency line. Come get me out of here.
Fuck that.
I'm done.
I'm killing them.
For nationally, if the barrel is under 16 inches, it's considered a pistol. So the AR platform pistol is considered a pistol, but I was just reading about states revising hunting regulations for AR style pistols. So like Missouri is changing their hunting laws, but it's a thing because people are using those for pistol season.
I wonder if that means so. Sawed-off shotgun is a pistol.
I don't know. Maybe there's another regulation. Sawed-off shotgun's illegal, I think.
In and of itself, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You can.
Okay.
It may be, and that may be kind of the legalese of it is to be defined as a shotgun. It must be X, and if you modify a shotgun to shorten it, it's no longer. It's
okay.
I don't know, but I do know from enough cop shows and shit that sawed-off shotguns are illegal. Maybe get a blunderbuss, get your pirate ass out there and go crazy.
It's funny. There's a law in Idaho that says you can't waste game. Hunters are required to remove and care for the edible meat of all big game animals except black bears, mountain lions, and gray wolves. This includes the meat from the hindquarters as far down as the hock, meat of the front quarters as far down as the knee.
I like that.
I'm 100% on board with that. You shouldn't. You shouldn't shoot them unless you're going to use them.
I mean, yeah. So so essentially, what that's saying is that if you have some farmland or something that some moose are coming in and damaging your crop, you're not allowed to kill them, or you're not allowed to kill them without using them. Is essentially what that's saying. It's like, again, like who's gonna? I mean, I guess there is an asshole out there that's like, I just want to go shoot something. That just leave it in the field, but like I can't imagine any. Generally speaking, any hunter going out there to hunt and doesn't want.
Sure.
The point.
It's cold. It's assuming it's not August and it's an archery hunt. Just interesting looking at it. So Idaho has the same setup as we do. The birth date, social security number, and last name, sort of login stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And it's almost it's very similar, almost identical. And I wonder who started that. I wonder if it was probably a western state, I would think, started that. Because I remember the state of Tennessee up maybe...
I would assume, just to interrupt, I apologize, but
Sure.
I would assume that's one of those that whoever started developing the software as computers became normal, somebody used it and started it, and then other states either copied what was already done
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
the company that developed it in the first place was like, yeah, we did Idaho, so we
Yeah.
can do Colorado and we can do Tennessee. And, TWRA was like, how's it working in Colorado? Great. Sweet. Set it up.
There's a list of legal blinds that you can use on public lands. That's interesting. So there's certain blinds that maybe there's a website here for it, but the state of Idaho has a specific, I guess, size or something requirement for blinds. You can't just buy a blind and go out there.
We have some general idea on that here too, and that you can't call a school bus a blind.
You can if it doesn't have a motor.
Yeah.
Your school bus can be a blind as long as the motor doesn't work.
Speaking of random things that are associated with this, July 1st going into effect is there's a new firing from a motor vehicle law going into place.
Which says you can do it?
No, I don't remember exactly
you can't.
Right. I'm not exactly sure what the specifics of it are, but it's going into place this year. Because I was joking with Massey about it when we were doing our session review show, and I was like, "Well, you can't do that, honey. You can't. You can be in a boat with the engine off and fire, as long as the boat's not moving forward."
That's funny.
So
yeah,
random.
right. Yeah, it's so funny. So, like, what does forward mean?
Right. I mean,
really, like you throw it in reverse, but we're going forward. Are we going forward anymore?
I mean,
No, there's an R. There's an R.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, but like, if you're in reverse, but we're driving down the road, getting to the land, but we're driving backwards, we could do that.
I think technically speaking,
I mean, how funny would it be to get a lawyer involved in on that? I mean, I wouldn't want the attention from TWRA in the first place,
right?
But
yeah,
Well,
literally, we're driving to camp, and we know we're on that portion of land.
Yeah.
And we see a couple standing over there, like just on the side of the road.
Yeah.
We stop, and they're still standing there. Throw it in reverse.
Yeah.
And just lean out the window and fire away.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
yes.
And while you're as you hit it in reverse, get on the other side of the road so that we're going the correct direction of traffic.
Correct.
It would be forward for everybody else, but we're doing it in reverse.
Correct.
But we can legally shoot this.
Yes. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but I mean, like the way that it's worded, it would allow us to do that.
I agree. I like that. That is one that if we can get somebody from TWRA high enough that's been with TWRA long enough to ask why that's a thing. Like, I mean, why is just like I can't imagine like what the scenario was where that became a thing. other than maybe like the only thing I can think of is that driving down the backcountry highway in the pickup truck, and Jim Bob's standing in the bed of the pickup truck, firing at deer as you're driving down the road. And so
I'm sure somebody did that.
I'm sure. That's the only scenario that like comes to my head on why that makes sense. And so to discourage Jim Bob from doing that, Billy driving has to stop and put it in reverse.
Yeah.
And by the time you stop and put it in reverse, A, you're not getting closer to the deer that you saw, but B, that deer is going to hear the whole hullabaloo of you changing directions and bolt.
But in archery season, it wouldn't matter because they wouldn't be scared anyway.
Right, of the vehicle or anything. Right?
Or you could get out and start doing the damn chicken dance, and it wouldn't care.
Yeah.
So in Idaho, here's the handgun thing.
But the law is on a firearm. It's not. Actually, I don't know. I would have to. Go back
I don't know what the definition of firearm is.
Right.
Is firearm actually something that has a?
Right. We have to go back and look that up to
primer
see if it's to see if it's a muzzleloader rifle specific or if it's any
right.
any official weapon for hunting.
Right. Can I throw a? Well, I can't harvest with a javelin, or what is that thing called?
It's a javelin. A stick with a pointy stick.
Yeah.
A javelin or a spear.
So here's the Idaho thing. Any handgun. This is what's legal for handguns. Any handgun using straight wall center fire cartridges not originally developed for rifles, or any airgun using pre-charged pneumatic power to propel a projectile, excluding shot and arrows, with unignited compressed air or gas, and projectiles at least 35 caliber for deer and pronghorn, and at least 45 caliber for elk and moose.
So the 300 Blackout pistol is designed around a rifle bullet, so it is not eligible.
No, it's actually pistol what's it called?
Again, this is my lack of knowledge on weapons.
Rimfire?
No, it's center fire, but it's using pistol powder. It's an actual pistol bullet.
So 300. So the round 300 blackout.
So the round can't be used in a rifle. Is what you're saying?
It doesn't use rifle
ballistics
powder, pistol powder. It uses the same powder for a 9 mil, a 45, or whatever. Whatever. It's the same. So pistol powder and rifle powder are different.
How much is that gun?
You can build one for around $1,500.
That's not too bad, actually. And the range is 300.
Yeah, 300. And it's the interesting thing about the 300 blackout is if you have your sights set in at 100 yards or 300 yards, it's the same sight. So it's a flat trajectory, but beyond 300 yards, it kind of just drops off.
Huh.
So it's good under 300 yards.
Interesting.
It has a flat pace because it uses pistol powder, which generates a higher velocity for the projectile.
Is it automatic?
It's semi-automatic, yeah. I mean, if you have an AR currently, you can take and do a shorter buttstock on it, change out the barrel and change out the bolt, and convert that to a 300 blackout. So,
because knowledge is power.
Interesting. One of the things I've thought about doing, I don't know how this podcast is going down the fucking hunting road, but anyway,
it's fine. Whatever.
I'm before I die, I'm going to put a silencer on the 300 just to have it. It's like $8,000 to get it. Though. Do what?
A suppressor.
Yeah.
Silencer is movie terms.
Well,
it's actually called a suppressor.
Whatever. It's like $8,000
for the actual for the suppressor itself, or for
yeah.
Because don't you have to have a special permit from the state?
I don't
you
know.
do have to get
I have no idea.
You have to get a permit from the state to own a suppressor, but you can get one for a lot cheaper than that.
Because Byron was talking about putting one on his 305. What is that thing that he's got?
308.
300 blackout. No, yeah, no, 3 Creedmoor.
It's a cool looking gun. See, this is my ignorance at play. Everybody.
Is it a bolt action? Is it a rifle?
No, his is set up like an AR platform. I have a 6.5 Creedmoor bolt action. Because somebody turned me on to, hey, there's this auction site where they sell.
Have you shot that thing yet?
No, I've got like 6 new guns in my safe that I've not shot.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Range day.
I'll go. It's a good auction site, actually.
It is. You can pick up some. Oh, I got a.
That's. Sorry, go ahead.
I picked up a Scorpion also. I don't know if you know what a Scorpion is. Cool looking gun. It shoots a 9 mil.
Somewhere in, I think, somewhere in the new laws that are going there, there's a sales tax holiday on gun safety equipment this year that's going into effect.
I kind of like that.
So when you
just safety equipment,
I believe so. I'd have to double check what the total is.
But not ammo and not.
Yeah, but like safes and like it's a gun safety equipment. So like safes and locks and stuff like that. And I don't know if that was a concession for the permitless carry conversation or what, but that's going into effect at some point. I have to look up the dates on what the dates of the sales tax holiday are, but I'm down with the idea. More people theoretically. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. That puts us back into politics a little bit, at least. I'm curious, realistically, this time next year, how many more people are going to be carrying. Obviously, we won't know. How do we get the data is a separate question, but I don't think it's going to be a significant change.
New applications versus I guess you won't have applications.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't know where you get the data from, but I don't think it's going to be a huge difference in the number of people carrying.
I totally agree.
Because I think one of the things that people overlook in that conversation specifically is that if you can legally own the gun, you can carry without a permit. So people are going to think that they can just carry without a permit, but if you can't buy the gun legally, you can't legally carry it. And so that's going to be an interesting. It's interesting to watch the first couple people getting arrested for having a gun that they can't legally have, even though they're trying to say, well, I can carry without a license. AC went to pee, so I'm talking to myself. Oh, but I don't know. I get it, but just to hammer the point, though, I doubt that there are going to be a significant new number of people. I'm not saying none, but I doubt there's going to be a significant number of people carrying July 1st that weren't carrying June 30th.
No, I agree wholeheartedly.
What is that? Oh, that's Scorpion?
That's a Scorpion, yeah.
That's pretty legit. That is kind of fun looking. Barrel's way down from the top.
Yeah, and it just comes right out beyond the handguard.
So that's a pistol.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the question. I was like the buttstock, it folds all the way to flat into the, like, by the handle, by the trigger.
Right.
So it's pretty short. But yeah, I don't know. Is that a pistol? Can I use that now?
Have you been good on ammo? Have you gotten more ammo for any of your stuff? I need to go get some. I need to go get some stuff. I need to get some of those home defense rounds or whatever for my 9mm. Because all I've got.
Yeah,
all I've got is
ammo,
that giant box of practice rounds I bought when I bought it.
I've gotten a lot of rifle ammo, but I don't. I need 45 and 380, and I can't find that anywhere without, you know.
Somebody told me that Academy Sports has a bunch in stock right now.
Ammo?
Mm-hmm.
Really? They didn't. I was over there. Of course, it's been a while. It's probably been a month. They didn't have shit.
Really?
They didn't have. I mean, nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, I was just telling him I need to get some. I need to get some home defense rounds for my pistol, because all I got I got a fucking ton, because I had to buy a case, because that's all they had when I bought it of range rounds or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
Not that, you know, it would do the job if somebody comes in the house and I don't want them here, but I also don't want it to go through them, through the wall, and into something else.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, yeah, these are... Anyway. I need to get... I don't know. I just need to... We need to get out in the woods. I need to... I'd be down for an archery weekend. I want to do. I would really like to do turkey. I want to do my own turkey. I want to do Thanksgiving with a turkey that I killed.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, when's turkey season?
I would say we could go to Catoosa, but I don't know where any. I only know where deer are in Catoosa. I don't know where turkeys are.
I thought you only knew where elk were because you always saw elk and didn't see deer.
Not a Catoosa.
No,
that's Royal Blue.
No, sorry.
Royal.
There's something really awesome, dude, about fucking early morning and deer hunting and hearing fucking elk bugling in the background. Holy shit. Oh man, it is so fucking cool.
Now that you know you can accidentally shoot an elk when you're during deer season.
In the appropriate counties.
Yeah.
We were not in one of those appropriate counties.
Oh. I mean, like I said,
At all.
I'd like to take a run at a turkey. That's on my others list.
A run at a what?
A turkey.
Oh, a turkey. Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to. I'd like to go. Like I said, I think it would be super. And again, this goes back to the earlier conversation that I think once it happens, I think I'm gonna be okay with it, just because I'm going to enjoy the idea of cooking mine. But I would like. I think it would be super cool on that fucking grill out there. Turkey I shot.
Fuck it, let's go.
We had a great. I very much enjoyed our turkey this last year. That we did on the grill.
My license, it just covers you for everything.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. I mean, like, I've had a taste of the archery. I'd imagine that it's going to be the same way with me with turkey. Like, duck fat is probably going to be a thing for me at some point. I'll probably go duck hunting.
Sandhill crane's another one. Everybody I've heard is like Sandhill crane is some of the best bird
really
out there at
Never heard
eating
of
wise. It's flying steaks or something like that is what they like to call them, because apparently it's got red meat as a bird.
Really?
Yeah. It's supposed to be really good, but that's one of those. Again, watching Ranella's show on it. They're out in a cornfield, and so there's like the ruts between the rows of corn. It's post harvest, so it's all broken corn stalks and shit like that. they're on this dude's cornfield, and like in the ruts between them, they took cardboard. They had cardboard sheets that they'd covered with broken corn stalks and stuff, and glued them on there and all that kind of shit, and had little cutouts. And so they're just laying in the field looking up.
Mm-hmm.
And they had one of the guys that they were hunting with who owned the property or whatever. I mean, they do it all the time, and so he self-taxidermied he's at least 1 or 2 kills every year. He'd self-taxidermy it, and those were their decoys, and so they'd set them out there in the field. And group flies over, and it's just throw the cardboard up.
Oh man, it's shit. I know I've told you the story a million fucking times, but the one and only time I went duck hunting, holy shit, it was funny as hell because I had never experienced it before. And there's like 6 of us up there in Waverly, right on the creek, and we're waiting.
Why
for
you should let me get you a dog?
Well, we need a house first before we get a dog. But yeah, we're just sitting there shooting the shit, just like we are right now. And then all of a sudden, here they come, and it's like a fucking firing range. It was, and they're just falling out of the sky like it's raindrops.
I have no idea who's shooting what. It's just like, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Like we have no idea who's hitting what. I'm just laughing my ass off. I forgot to reload, and like I'm sitting there pulling the fucking triggers. I'm laughing my ass off. Like, what the fuck is this doing anything? And it's just the funniest goddamn thing ever. Oh man.
So there's 5 of us and 20 came down, so 4 each.
Yeah, it's 4 each. Sounds good.
I was looking at turkey season, and it lines up with deer archery season.
Let's do it.
In Unit L?
Archery season for turkey is the 26th through September 26th through October 30th.
There's an archery season for turkey?
Yeah, archery season for turkey, yeah. And then
interesting.
That lines up with archery deer season. So we'll be out there and shoot a turkey and a deer.
I don't know if I've ever been to Waverly where I didn't see at least one turkey.
Not last year. Year before last, I remember seeing a bunch.
And I'm trying to think of if those were all girls, because you got to shoot boys. So, like, that's the other question is, I know they have the thing that hangs down, but I've never looked at those turkeys close enough to go, is that a boy turkey or a girl turkey?
Yeah.
I mean, it's ass feathers and chin nuts.
Chin nuts. You got to look for the chin nuts.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, there's a word for it, but chin nuts is what came to mind. But because the dudes have the big feather set too. It's not like most birds. The
beard.
It's called beard.
Beard.
That's why they're turkeys.
Yeah. So the pretty ones are the dudes. It's weird that that's like across the board, all species. The dudes are more attractive.
It's easier to select.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the pressure's on us to convince women to have sex with us.
Yeah.
It's not on women.
It's the game, the peacocking. That's where the phrase comes from.
Yep.
All right. Any last any last? Let's end it with a bang. What's big? Something big and exciting.
Don't have anything.
Coming through like a champ.
What I hear from you is that you're going to be going to archery season with us.
I don't know if I said that, but I'm open to the idea.
No, you're off on weekends.
That's true. But yeah, I don't know. City races, other crap going into effect. I'm trying to think of anything that was really weird. I'm kind of mad at there's a state law that's changing the amount of reward allowed from the state budget for a select group of people. That kind of bothers me. So, like, if I got shot, there's a maximum amount the state will put in a reward to help find my murderer. But if a cop gets shot, there's just like 3 times as much as mine.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that either.
I don't. Yeah, that's just like. I told Massey that, and I was like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but it's just like, so cops are more important than me. Is that what we're saying? Like they're more important. It's more important that they get justice for their whatever.
Yeah.
And and again, it goes back to that rhetoric game. It's like, well, you don't like cops. It's like, well, that's neither here nor there in this conversation.
Yeah.
The reality is, I don't like that the state values them more than me.
Right.
Well, so the question is, not trying to get in a long debate when we're shutting it down, but
no, I mean, I set it up. We got like 15 minutes or so before I was going to shut it up.
If a cop, like on duty, gets killed, I could say, okay, well, he was working and got shot. there's a bigger reward for that. But is it just you being a cop gets killed?
I think it's period.
Like,
I'd have to go read through it.
Off duty gets shot. How is he any different than me?
I mean, I follow what you're saying, but I don't care either way. On or off duty, it doesn't matter. I don't think they should have more value to the state they're supposed to be citizens just like the rest of us. I mean, so it's like, should there be a bigger reward if I get shot at work as opposed to getting shot at home?
Well, if your worker is putting up the reward, yes.
That's well played.
Or if the workforce is what's set up to have you killed in the first place.
That too.
So.
All right, that was supposed to be a little more than that, but...
Or you look like Macklemore.
Yeah.
I have no idea who that guy is.
I don't know how you don't know who that guy is, but that's okay. Kind of a big deal. That's right, you're a dad now. You're not into the hip, cool stuff.
Yeah, I got nothing. He looks like a douche.
But Max, you know who Macklemore is. Whether you like my poster or not is irrelevant.
No, yeah, I know who Macklemore is.
And he's old, like he's way older than us.
But
is he a rapper?
Max?
I don't know. Rapper. I know he's in the music business.
Yes, he's a rapper. It's pretty funny.
It's funny that he's a rapper?
No, like he's got some funny stuff that he does in his rap. He did the...
like Eminem funny?
Poppin' Tags was his. That was his big first hit. Poppin' Tags.
It's just words to me. I don't know what you're
about going to the thrift shop, buying shit.
Oh, yeah. I know that one.
That was. I think that was like the song of the summer in 2015.
That poster looks like it's from the damn thrift shop.
I mean, that's his. It's his look. That was kind of cool though. That the actual where the poster came from is actually fun. Like,
what's the story?
So, it was a free tour. You just had to go to a particular store to pick up your free tickets. And so it was on a certain Saturday. You go to the store and this place and pick them up. And so I was working on that Saturday, and so I was close to two of them. And so you could get a pair of tickets. And so I went to the first one and stood in line because it was right when it was starting. Picked up two tickets. I was like, cool. And then go back to work, do some more work. And as the day goes on, I'm close to another of the stores, a different branch or whatever. And I go in there and I get two more tickets. And I was like, let's take the kids. It'll be fun. Be their first concert ever. It's cheap because I'm cheap.
Jesus Christ!
And they
so hold on real quick before you finish
they enjoy some of the popular Macklemore songs that are out there. And I was like, this would be a cool thing to do. We can take the kids to the show and have a good time. And so we go with the intent to get some merch, as you know, as a memories for the experience. We're going to get the kids T-shirts or whatever because that's my thing. When I go to a concert, I get a T-shirt. I went to this concert, I get a T-shirt. Like every time I go to a Radiohead show, I always pick up a T-shirt. That's what I do. And so the intent was we were going to get, the kids get a T-shirt or a hat or some random merch thing, and there was no merch at the show. And so we're like, shit, this sucks. And so we're on our way out, and we stop and like just some random usher or whatever, like, hey, we really want to get something for the kids. It's their first concert or whatever. What do we need to do to get one of these posters? Because they had these things spread out all over the concourses or whatever. And he's like, I don't know. And he just grabs one of them. And so like they're on these little boxes, and he grabs this box, takes it in the elevator. We get in the elevator with him. While we're in the elevator, he rips it off the box, rolls it up. He's like, I don't know if you're supposed to or allowed to have this or whatever, but here you go. And so that's why among a dozen other reasons, that's why it's important and special to me, the Macklemore poster.
So I like the story. I really do, actually. I also want to point out, though, that the first fucking concert that your kids went to was not only a free show with this fucking character on it. I like the story, but Jesus Christ, their first concert, they're going to be telling their kids and their grandkids their first concert was this cocksucker.
You don't even know who it is, so you can't. I mean, that's not even a fair argument.
How much profanity was at the show?
Do what?
How much profanity?
Plenty.
Plenty.
I don't know. I didn't count, but I mean, more than 5 cuss words were said.
Max, they didn't hear the cursing because they were in the back of the truck while he was driving in.
They curse all the fucking time.
Your kids cuss?
Sure.
Oh Jesus!
It's
man.
your fault, man. Listen, you're the worst. You are the
What
worst.
the fuck are they doing up at 11:30 at night?
We're not talking about 11:30 at night. We're talking about when we get here for a 1 o'clock show in the afternoon, and we're sitting out back, and you're having your cigar, and we're chit chatting pre-show. And my eldest especially likes to hang out when you're around, and the amount of language you put out in a given conversation.
So wait a minute, you're
with
telling
my
me
kids present.
So
no, I'm just saying, don't judge the fact that my kids curse when you're probably the most often cussing in front of them.
So you're telling me that the reason why your kids cuss is because of me? Is what you're saying?
No, I didn't say that at all. But I'm just saying you're the worst. You were the worst editor in front of my kids, other than maybe Anthony. Anthony's the worst.
The only reason he could take them to Macklemore is because of UAC.
Right, because I was comfortable with their cussing.
I feel like I need to bring a Bible with me the next time I show up here.
I'm not asking you to change what it is. It's just like they know the rules. The rules are there's places you can and can't, and when you cross that line, then you can't. Period.
Okay.
That's the house rule. It's kind of adjusted a little bit because the elder is just he's not good at it yet, and it's annoying. Here's a spot where I can insert a curse word. Not that it's not like it's like we were playing Uno or something like that, and I dropped a draw 4 on him. God damn it, dude! Like I get it, but you know,
not the appropriate spot.
You got to work on application
Delivery.
Yeah, I mean, the better one. I can't remember what it was. We were in the car on the way to school, and I was dropping off at school one morning, and I put some stupid song on just to fuck with them. And the younger one was like, "This is bullshit." And, like, said it perfect. Like it was appropriate, and like it was one of those that, like, you know, it's they don't do it enough that when they do, it still like perks the ear a little bit. Can't help myself. But like that one was like so appropriate and proper, and like because I was fucking with them on purpose. And that's what he said. You're fucking with me. And I was like, yeah, I am. I totally am. So I can't complain about that use of the cuss word. It was proper. It was in an appropriate place where it's
proud dad moment.
Yeah, you'll get
See,
there.
my kids, all my kids cuss because I'll hear them in the rooms or whatever.
Yeah.
But even my 15-year-old, I'm like, no, you don't talk like that around me. Even though I know I'm cuss. I know it's his principle. Like when you're 18, you can say whatever you want. But
hey, just a side note, and we'll talk about that off air. No, we want to cut this off. She did
Go
well.
ahead.
She did well this year.
What do you mean?
We'll cut it off.
All right, last call.
That's all I got. I'm to blame for his kids cussing.
That's right. AC is the worst influence on my children of all the terrible people that are in my life. AC is the one that stands my kids.
I find that hard to believe, considering you're the one that drives them around in the back of a damn pickup truck.
What was it, Max? I'm pink neck.
Yeah.
Anyway, almost an agreement at gmail.com. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Our website is almostanagreement.com. Go there, get all the episodes. Or you can go to your favorite podcast provider. We're available on there as well. Quick apology for the Compass Show. There was a weird, there was a glitch in there. So the first time I released it, it came out a little shorter than it actually was. I re-uploaded it. It should be correct now if you haven't gone back to check on that. I apologize for that mistake there. But we're almost agreement. Like I said, if you own a meat processor or a gun store or anybody else who wants to sponsor with us and give us some free shit so that we can hunt more often, we're totally on board with that. Thanks for listening, everybody. I'm on vacation, so after this show, it'll be a little while before the next one. But we appreciate you guys listening. Tell your friends about us. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thanks, everybody.
What is that?